Alexandra, so many emotions right now. First of all, no one wants to have to play against an injured player. I am sure your heart is breaking for Coco right now.
Yes. First and foremost, I want to say Happy Women's Day, everybody. Bear with me because I have a lot to say. I want to say thank you to all the incredible women who have paved the way and who have advocated for themselves and for other women. Among them is Coco. So thank you, Coco, for being an amazing competitor and amazing role model. And I really hope that everything is well and you will recover soon. I also want to say Happy Women's Day to my mom, who is there in the stands. I want to thank her for being the amazing woman that she is and for helping me become the woman that I am. So, and that goes to all mothers.
Halt everything you are doing this very instant. Do not look away. Do not swipe past this. Postpone your appointments. Set your device to airplane mode. Secure your door. Shut your blinds. And crank your speakers until the very floorboards vibrate with the bass. I demand your complete, unwavering, and total focus for the moments that follow, because the inconceivable has become reality. The premonition that the mainstream sports world mocked, the omen the tennis establishment desperately tried to suppress, has just erupted in the most brutal, degrading, and world-shaking manner conceivable. We declared yesterday that Alexandra Eala was entering Court 1 not as a competitor, but as a predator. We warned you that Coco Gauff, America's darling, the ascendant U.S. Open champion, the fourth-ranked player on the planet, was dangerously oblivious to the mental storm about to consume her. But I must be entirely transparent with you now. Not even I, with all the back-channel intelligence and locker room chatter, could have foreseen this level of savagery. Not even I anticipated a systemic meltdown of such catastrophic proportions. What you're seeing on your screen is not a tennis match summary. It is the official death certificate for the old guard of the Women's Tennis Association. This is the absolute, unquestionable, and final curtain on an entire era. The voices on television right now are paralyzed, lost in a state of utter disbelief. The American commentators are fumbling for words. They're stumbling over their scripts. They're frantically reciting from cue cards, beads of sweat forming under the hot studio lights, attempting to weave a fantasy narrative to shield their billion-dollar asset. They are deploying sanitized corporate jargon, like fatigue, minor injury, unfavorable conditions, and a precautionary step. They are deceiving the entire planet because the reality is far too monstrous for their corporate sponsors to stomach. I command you to focus on the top right corner of the screen. Gaze upon those three glowing French words in the darkness. They expose the stark, unfiltered truth the media is too afraid to utter on a national broadcast. Victoire par forfait. Victory by forfeit. Victory by retirement. Coco Gauff, the undeniable, undisputed icon of American tennis, competing on her home territory under the brilliant lights of one of the most celebrated tournaments in the world, literally resigned. She surrendered. She waved the white flag of defeat, approached the umpire's chair, packed her equipment, and utterly abandoned the contest. While trailing 6-2 and 2-0 in the second set, she didn't merely suffer a loss to Alexandra Eala. She was so profoundly, completely, and psychologically dismantled. Her will was so utterly pulverized into fine dust that she opted to escape the court before thousands of her own supporters, rather than endure another agonizing, shameful second, trapped in that arena with the sheer force of nature the Rafael Nadal Academy has unleashed upon the world. To grasp the full scale of the psychological trauma dealt on Court 1 today, we must shred the public relations narrative, disregard the official statements, and plunge into the cold, brutal, and horrifying truth held within these numbers. Because this score sheet is written like the script for a psychological thriller, let's begin with the most chilling, logic-defying, physically impossible statistic ever documented in the annals of professional tennis. Look at Eala's first serve percentage, the benchmark for consistency, the very measure of control, 96%. Let me repeat that, so the sound of it echoes in your skull. 96%. I require you to absorb the weight of that number. I need you to recognize that a figure like this shatters the known laws of tennis physics. The world's most elite players, at the zenith of their abilities, are overjoyed to land 65% of their first serves. Hitting 75% is considered a once-in-a-lifetime performance. They describe it as being unconscious, in the zone. But Eala, on the grandest stage of her career, staring down the fourth best player in the world, confronting a ferociously partisan American crowd hungry for her defeat, executed her serve with 96% robotic perfection. What a wonderful display of sportsmanship. That was remarkable to witness. A very classy act. That moment right there almost encapsulates the spirit of International Women's Day. A beautiful moment indeed. A challenging situation for Alex. She committed not a single double fault. Zero. Nor did she hit a single ace, for the simple reason that she didn't have to. Can you comprehend the sheer audacity and genius in that? Her goal was not to overpower Coco Gauff with blistering, untamed power. What she executed was a masterclass in clinical, agonizing, surgical dismantling. Eala transformed into a relentless rhythm of pure suffering for her opponent. Every time she approached the service line, let the ball drop, and lofted it toward the blinding stadium lights, Coco Gauff felt a cold dread, for she knew precisely what was coming next. Gauff was bracing for a serve that was not merely perfect, but punishingly heavy, a truly indefensible projectile dripping with oppressive topspin, designed to throw her onto the back foot from the very first shot of every rally. Eala seemed to have erased the very possibility of an unforced error from her consciousness. The idea of a mistake was simply deleted from her code. She morphed into a cold, unwavering machine engineered with a singular, brutal directive, the complete and utter demolition of Coco Gauff's psychological resolve. Now, I ask you to shift your gaze across the court to the American phenom. Witness what befalls the chosen one. The athlete who was gifted every benefit, every primetime broadcast, and every million-dollar sponsorship, when she is ensnared in a baseline battle with an adversary who fundamentally refuses to miss. Under the crushing, suffocating weight of Alexandra Eala's perfection, Coco Gauff did not just falter. She experienced a total and complete meltdown on a global stage. Gauff served 7 double faults. 7. In a match that lasted only 10 brief games before she suddenly determined an injury made it impossible to go on. Gauff effectively conceded nearly 2 whole games worth of points for free, simply because her hand was trembling too violently to toss the ball true. The crushing weight of the moment was, in essence, cooking her alive on that court. It was all there in her expression. You could see the tendrils of panic taking hold. You could see her searching her coach's eyes, utterly adrift, seeking an answer that did not exist. But this nightmare plunges into far darker depths. If you believe the double faults tell the story, you are mistaken. You must examine the one statistic that cements Eala's status as the most brilliant tactical mind of her time. Observe the first serve win percentage for Coco Gauff. She managed to land an astounding 83% of her first serves. For her, that is a phenomenal statistic. By any historical measure, if Gauff lands 83% of her first serves, she obliterates her opponent from the court. It guarantees a victory in straight sets where she barely breaks a sweat. Her first serve is meant to be her most devastating weapon. But consider what transpired when those serves actually found the box. Coco Gauff secured only 34% of those points. 34%. Do you grasp the profound, soul-shattering humiliation contained within that number? It means Coco Gauff was launching her very best, her most powerful, her fastest 120-mile-per-hour serves. She was deploying her heaviest ordnance. And Eala was waiting, perfectly poised on the baseline, treating these ballistic missiles as if they were nothing more than underhanded lobs, and absorbing all of that raw American power only to redirect it violently back at Gauff's feet for clean, definitive winners. Eala was demonstrating a level of dismissal so complete, so utterly contemptuous that it shattered Coco Gauff's entire tennis persona into a million fragments. Gauff's most trusted, most fundamental weapon was rendered completely and utterly useless. She was hurling cannonballs at a titanium wall, and that wall was firing them back with twice the force. Eala secured 25 receiving points in just 10 games. Contemplate the arithmetic of that. She had taken up residence inside Coco Gauff's service games. It was as if she could read Gauff's intentions, knowing the serve's destination before the racket had even completed its arc. Eala's returns were landing with such aggressive, punishing depth that Gauff was in a constant state of scrambling retreat, perpetually off-kilter, locked in a desperate struggle just to keep the point alive. And that brings us to the run, the apocalyptic, devastating streak that finally shattered the American champion's spirit and forced her capitulation. Let's look at consecutive games won. Coco Gauff, seeded number 4 in the entire world, could only win a single game at a time. Her longest streak was 1. She was never permitted to string 2 together. She was never allowed to build an iota of momentum. She was denied any chance to energize the crowd. But Eala? She assembled a terrifying, cataclysmic run of 7 games in a row, 7 straight, against the reigning US Open champion. Eala had been down 2-0. Gauff had exploded out of the gate in the first set, trying to impose her will, trying to overwhelm the 31st seed with sheer power. But Eala simply weathered the initial assault, calibrated Gauff's timing, and systematically downloaded her opponent's entire strategic framework. Then, she simply decided Gauff would not win another game for the rest of the evening. I want you to close your eyes and feel the suffocating, pitch-black void of being Coco Gauff in that moment. You get broken, and you're down 3-2. You tell yourself you can recover. Then the next game is gone. It's 4-2. The stadium falls silent, and a nervous whisper snakes through the seats. You walk to the line to serve again. Your arm feels like it weighs 100 pounds. You hit a double fault. Suddenly, the scoreboard reads 5-2. You try to hit with more power. You try to yell. You try to ignite something inside yourself. But every time you unleash a shot with everything you have, Eala steps forward and smothers it, sending it past you with a chillingly vacant expression on her face. You are the reigning US Open champion, your face emblazoned on every massive billboard surrounding the stadium. You are meant to be the unchallenged monarch of the hard court, the chosen successor to Serena Williams. And yet, you are in the midst of a 7-game collapse against a 31st-ranked qualifier from the Philippines who is landing 96% of her first serves and looking through you as if you are a trivial annoyance on her inevitable path to glory. That is the anatomy of the forfeit. That is the reason the white flag was waved. The media machine will spend the coming week feeding you stories about a sudden tweak in Gal's ankle. They'll invent a stomach bug, a sharp pain in her shoulder, or a bout of extreme dehydration. They will trot out medical experts on television to pontificate about injury prevention, but the locker room is whispering the undeniable truth. The seasoned players, their eyes glued to the monitors in the lounge, they know what really happened. The elite sports psychologists watching this spectacle from the stands, they know the truth. You do not abandon a match of this immense magnitude, not in front of the sponsors from your home country, not before your own fans at the most prestigious tournament outside a Grand Slam, unless your competitive spirit has been utterly and irrevocably shattered. At the start of the second set, Coco Gauff peered across the net. She saw Eala standing there, a portrait of calm. Eala was barely glistening with sweat. Her breathing was steady and deep. She was bouncing the ball, poised to unleash another barrage of 96% serves, ready to pull Gal into another 30-shot rally of pure, agonizing attrition. And in that instant, Coco Gauff's central nervous system yanked the emergency cord. Gal understood with a chilling certainty that if she endured another set on that court, it wouldn't just be a tennis match, she would lose. She was facing a public, historical demolition. She was staring down the barrel of a 6-2, 6-0 scorecard that would be seared into the pages of history forever. It would completely incinerate her aura of invincibility. Her sponsors would flee. The entire story built around her would disintegrate. So, She pulled the final escape hatch. She ran. She opted for the coward's exit. She chose a medical withdrawal over a televised execution. She concluded it was better for the world to speculate about her health than for everyone to witness the inescapable fact that Alexandra Eala is simply on another level. The fallout from this moment inside the WTA locker room is nothing short of thermonuclear. We are talking a level 5 contamination zone. The very veterans who begged Coco Gauff to stop Aya's ascent are now staring into the void. Their champion is gone. Their final bastion of defense, the billion-dollar American prodigy, was not merely overcome. She was completely dismantled, without a hint of a struggle. She gave up. Grasped the implications of this for the entire tour. The Rafael Nadal Academy has forged the ultimate, unbreakable weapon. For years, the WTA Tour was an arms race of pure, unbridled, aggressive force. It was a contest of who could simply hit the ball with the most savage power imaginable. But Alexei just withstood the most powerful tennis the American machine could throw at her. And she sent it back with such brutal, unrelenting, robotic consistency that she forced a Grand Slam champion into a full psychological surrender. There are no more rationalizations for the media to cling to. There are no more invented tales of her being too green or inexperienced, or just a fortunate qualifier on a hot streak. Alexandra Eala has officially and indisputably seized control of the tennis world. She is the new apex predator. She carries the mythical, borderline psychotic mental resilience of Rafael Nadal flowing in her blood. She has the unyielding, earth-shaking, zealous backing of the entire Philippine nation roaring behind her baseline, demanding triumph. And she possesses a level of mechanical precision on her serve that the professional tour has never, in its entire existence, encountered before. The establishment is no more. The old guard has been violently deposed. The age of American media anointing the next superstar is finished. The crown has been seized by conquest. Long may she reign, the new queen of the WTA. I demand that you absolutely overwhelm the comment section of this video immediately. I need the Eala army to rise up and make its presence felt so powerfully, so forcefully, that the sports media can no longer dare to ignore this reality. I want this video shared everywhere. What is your take on that statistically impossible 96% first serve number? Do you, for one solitary second, believe the weak excuses offered by the mainstream media for Coco Gauff's sudden withdrawal? Or do you recognize the plain truth that Alex Eala utterly shattered her spirit during that ferocious 7-game onslaught? Who in the world remains on this professional tour with any hope of defeating our girl now? Is anyone left? The comments are your coliseum. Unleash the echoes of your victory shouts, your most brilliant tactical dissections, the thunder of your support, and the prophecies you dare to speak for her journey to the crown. A new order is dawning, and Alexandra Eala is the one carrying the banner into battle. The uprising starts now.